so we'll see how that goes. So we're going to work from the side control. The first thing I'm going to do is just the most simple head and arm attack. Most of it's going to be head and arm based. I'm going to do the most simple head and arm attack that I can do from here and just go through the mechanics of why I'm doing what I'm doing to finish it, and then that again will reapply when we go into a couple of other different situations, alright? So head and arm, just because I'm not saying this is the only way, it works for me, alright, but everybody's got a different body type, everybody gravitates to different things, but the guys in the gym that I have working it, like skinny guys, fat guys, thin guys, muscly guys, whatever, this tends to work across the board. Some of the others are like, maybe like long guy, centric or whatever. I've never been a long guy in any respect, so you don't have to worry about that. So this one is just, I find that it works pretty well universally for everybody. Alright, so what I'm going to do first, I'm going to try and put enough pressure on him to force him to be posting underneath, alright? So if I'm here, there's no real need for him at this point to be getting too flustered by what I'm doing. So what I'm going to try and do, I've got a good cross face, alright? I'm going to take my shoulder across his jaw, and instead of staying on my knees, alright, I'm going to come up onto my toes. The biggest problem people make here is when they come up onto your toes. If I go over his centre line, obviously there's a good chance I can come across there, which will either take me over or create a scramble, which I don't want. So when I'm doing this, when I'm getting up onto my toes, if I'm on my knees here, I can have my base down backwards, and where my chest is relative to his doesn't matter that much as long as my weight's sat down. But when I'm on my toes, instead of staying here up on the middle, I'm going to slide back a little bit, and what I'm trying to get is my centre of gravity, rather than being over his midpoint, is I'm going to try and work down this way and somewhere on his ribs in there. Okay, so my toes at this point are going to be the only real thing that's making contact with the mat. The rest is my pressure coming through there. Okay, so the more flustered I can get him, the better the reaction that I'll get. So I'm in, up on my toes, I'm sliding back a little bit, and I've got a good cross face, and now there should be quite a good amount of pressure through his chest. Alright, so if I can disrupt his breathing, make him uncomfortable, alright, then I know I'm doing it pretty well. So he's going to try and force some space by getting this arm in. This is the easiest way to catch any arm triangle, is bridging off, alright, he's trying to take some pressure off there because it sucks to be underneath this, alright. So he's pushing it off, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut behind his shoulder, in nice and tight, and as long as I can get my head past his elbow, alright, then I'm going to be able to keep this control. From here, the important thing is my crossface stays in nice and tight, and I want to keep maintaining a pinching pressure, so with my head pinching into my own hand. So I can come around and cup, but I need to be constantly trying to take my head into his head. Alright, if I take this off, obviously he can pummel that back through, and then I'm going to start all over again. So I'm in, so as I drive it up, now I'm just going to keep this pinch. Okay, so if he tries to retrieve this arm, I'm just keeping my head working into his head. He's not going to be able to work the elbow back through. Okay, so I like to make sure that this crossface at this point is as tight as I can get it. Alright, but we're going to deal with this after, because in movement it's going to come off a little bit. So I'm in tight, alright, head's in nice and tight, and I want this digging in as far as I can get. So the nape of my elbow here is going to be right into his neck. I don't want a gap between this, alright? So my elbow there, if his neck's there and there's a gap, this is going to be a lot looser than I want it. But when I shove it right the way through, okay, there's no gap there. So when I'm coming through to hit this, head stays pinched in, I'm going to post up, alright, and I'm going to go knee slide across his hips first, rather than stepping over where there's a good chance I'm going to get trapped. So head stays in tight, knee slides across, and then I'm going to come to the mount first. I've got a free arm, but now I'm still maintaining this pressure, keeping him working in this way. I'm going to post up again, just enough so I can get my knee across his body. Okay, so again, I'm just avoiding getting put in his half guard from there. If he tries to retrieve a guard from there, yeah, my foot's up too high to take it. So I'm going to post, and I'm going to slide across this way. And now we're in the position where my finishing mechanics are going to make a big difference. Okay, so worst mistake I think people make is once I'm in here, okay, I come down, and I'm trying to put my squeeze on, and this is not tightened up. So as I pull through from there, I'm going to take an S-grip. So bottom hand is going to S-grip here, and I want this, my left forearm flat. When I get this, take the time, rather than trying to sit in for your submission straight away, take the time to tighten this up first. I guarantee there's always a little bit tighter you can make it every time. So I pull in with a grip, lift up, and I'm going to cinch it through, and now I'm starting to get really tight on there. If he tries to get even a finger in that gap between his neck and my arm, yeah, there's nothing in there. If I'm in there, yeah, then that's when we've got problems. So I'm going to straighten the arm, and I pull it through, cranking using my right arm, in this example, to pull it through, and I'm keeping my head into the side of his head. Alright, now this is everything that I need to finish it. Alright, I've not finished an arm triangle with a hand on a bicep in probably nearly a decade, alright? Not that you can't do that, again. I'm not saying it's a certainty you need to do it this way, but this really works. So my head's in, all my weight wants to be coming down through my choking arm, which is my left arm, okay? So any weight that I've got on his body is going to be taking that weight out of his choke. So I want to slide my body, and I want to take it all the way off him to the mat on the outside. My head is in touch with his head, yeah, this grip's as tight as it can be, and all I'm going to do there is a little drop on my right shoulder. And that's a shitty place to be in when you demonstrate for that long. I'm talking so much, I'll do it faster this time. Cheers. Okay, so, pop in there, we're going to pop. When I'm in there, key things, yeah, so, if you just sit up. This, when it's in there, alright, this gap, I want it to be like this. I don't want it to be like this where there's a gap there. Alright, so, chest pressure, I'm on my toes, driving in, forcing this reaction. Behind his elbow, I'm going to drive across, and I pinch it in, keeping my head pinched in nice and tight. Post, knee slides up, I come to a mount where I can keep attacking for this if I want. But the best position, up again, little knee slice across, and if I need to, I can kick his leg off to come the opposite side. Now always at this point, you might think it's tight, but always readjust, okay? So take this S grip, I'm going to lift it up, take the pinch off his head, and I'm going to pull my right arm so it's really tight there. I'm taking all my weight off of his body, so I'm not up and taking, putting some weight through his ribs, weight off his body, and I'm going flat to the mat. As I'm flat, all I'm doing is I'm dropping weight through my left arm, and if it needs it, I just start walking around, okay? Once I'm in this position, see when a wrestler's trying to not be turned over, alright? So it goes like this. For us, it's not a good position, but that position's good for not being moved. If I'm in here, alright, I'm trying to finish this like this, and I'm higher, not only am I not putting as much pressure on him, it's much easier for me to move when my hips are up higher like this. So I'm basically becoming a dead weight down the side of him. Pull this tight, alright, yank through your rest grip, head stays in tight, and I'm taking everything to the floor. Then I'm just dropping my left elbow in, and finishing it there. If you don't get him there, you start walking around to his head, and finish it that way. But once you've got that tight, don't normally get that far, okay? So, give that a go. You're not going to be able to do that, are you?